Hi, I'd like to welcome back the readers of Pro Nature Photographer for another conversation with David Muench. He's going to share with us today a collection of images from his photographic collection called Timeless Moments, and I'd like to welcome David back.
Hello, Charlie. Yeah, thanks. Quite an interesting, this is an interesting kind of a moment for me. But Timeless Moment is my portfolio number one in the collection at David Muench Photography. And one of the more important ones for me in explaining kind of where I have been and what I have done in my career. So with starting with it, it is kind of a heady title. It comes from the decisive moment of Cartier-Bresson, who was somebody I revered when I was starting. I really liked it because it had nature, not necessarily nature, but a journalistic approach intrigued me no end in my beginnings, and then it went off into nature. Timeless Moment is different, though, and I'd like to explain that. Timeless Moment is where the past meets the future in the present. And we'll try and explain that because it is a little bit heady, but is a unique thought or vision. To me, I feel it is. I haven't seen it expressed too much. We all touch on it all the time, but I've kind of isolated it into a unique phrase, I think. So what it is, you see the past is the past, and the future is yet to come. That means the future is in your hands as photographers and depends on the present right now. A timeless moment is the present. But that's generality. Of course, the image makes whatever it is there, but a timeless moment is the present moment. For me, a timeless moment comes from discovering an image that hasn't been discovered before. This is an addendum. It's something that is very special to me. A creative moment is discovering something that hasn't been seen before, hasn't been photographed, I guess you could say, or looked at before, and yet it could have been there all the time, probably was. The photograph I make represents all that has passed there before. A quick, direct response is essential, or the moment will slip away. These are things that kind of lead in and kind of tantalize the visions of what we're talking about here, and we can go into specific images that kind of help identify this. But this is new, so it may not ring the clearest bell. And whether any questions you have or thoughts, I'd welcome them because it's still a developing thing, but I think very unique.
Right. Okay, so the first image here of Timeless Moments is a beautiful sunrise, I'm assuming, in a swampy area.
Yes, this is Sunrise Horseshoe Bend Swamp in southern Illinois. And what it does represent is the timeless moment between night and day. And the sun is coming through the fog that has developed very late in the night, and you have the sense of it warming up the cool night and bringing a change, and you're right at that moment. That's what that one really exemplifies, I think, very well.
I haven't been to southern Illinois or a location like this, but this is not what I would think is Illinois. I would look at this as Louisiana or Georgia or something like that. So,
well, that was a whole era that I chased around looking and searching for bald cypress tupelo swamps in Louisiana and Arkansas. And a lot of them have changed, a lot of them were taken out, but it's hard to find a true primal swamp. And this just happened to be in a place called Horseshoe Bend in very southern Illinois. And it just happened, and there it was. It was a little kind of a state park like wildlife refuge kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And camped there, and there it was in the morning. You're right on location, and it worked quite well. It's 1985, so don't expect it to be there still. But anyway, that's
right.
That was an unusual thing. I couldn't believe it, but I had to photograph it because it happened.
Exactly.
But then I said, "Oh, you're in Illinois. Oh, okay. All right."
Well, sure. Plus, shot on a 4x5, and
Yes.
just the positioning for that sunburst on the edge of the tree and everything is a bit of a challenge moving a camera around like that.
Well, the key is to hide the sun behind some dark object and just use a little kiss of light.
Yep.
You know, like I mean, percentage-wise, barely 10% of the sun. When the sun hits hard on the lens, you're going to have flares all over. This just uses a little bit, but uses the light on the subject to great advantage. Backlit. Backlit is one of my favorite lighting situations, along with ambient light.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I think this definitely says timeless moment. This is going to happen for a minute or two, and then it's gone.
And then bingo, it's gone. Yeah.
Well, very nice. Our next image here is the Navajo region of Arizona.
Yes, this is one of my. This is 1958. Monument Valley, Navajo Shepherd, bringing his flock. The family happened to be there. I cannot remember. I'm just barely out of high school. I remember paying them some to take care of them, because that is a thing a little rough for people, especially in the 70s, 80s, taking advantage of Navajos. Well, I remember paying them, but that isn't the point. It's the timing of the shepherd bringing his flock back, going across the water, and the family there awaiting him. Even the dogs are anticipating. And this is, to me, was one of my ultimate timeless moments, because what's past is sort of obvious, and what will happen in the future will happen. I mean, it's just an instant,
right? And
very much a timeless moment, but it's clean.
Yeah,
it's a clean thing without the tracks all over, and the a Hollywood type tracks solid all over it. Well, just run it again. Yeah, okay, let's run it again. Well, this one is that moment that is pristine, just precious.
Yes. Yeah. And love the backlighting here. That's bringing in a lot of drama.
Yeah, top light here, but almost backlit. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful shot. We're going to move to more frigid region of the country here, Denali, I believe.
Yes, this is a quick instant of isolated light. The mountain is 20,300. You have clouds covering 3/4 of the mountain in this view, and the view doesn't include the top, but you have just an isolated, selective moment of light on the mountain, which to me senses of a timeless moment. And yet this, because it is timeless, and yet as an instant, it represents a lot of passing of time and a lot of future with similar vision. This is a kind of a photographer's a telephoto instant, when you're just being sharp and not trying to be creative, but just at least spotting things that are with telephoto. I've been working a lot with telephoto seeing, and this is one of those that's just an isolated piece of light that intrigued me on Denali. But the mountain never showed.
Oh.
The mountain never showed. So that was the sort of frustration leading to responding to whatever's happening.
Right.
And you go to that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of travel to get up there to Denali to even be in the presence and photograph. And then when you don't have the mountain coming out due to weather, probably a lot of people would throw the camera back in the bag and take off. Yet,
going for yes, exactly. I've done that. I did a couple trips there. It was 7 days waiting. Just drove all around different places. This was back in the 70s, I think, into the 80s maybe. Driving around, waiting for some break. I'd go all these different places, drive 300-400 miles, and then come back. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. But into Denali, you have to specify your timing and have a slot of visiting in there until September. I don't know, maybe it's changed now, but 9th or somewhere around there. Then they, then they close it. Let people come in for 2 days on a weekend, and you have 400 or 500 cars, and then they close it.
Right.
And the buses all leave, like this is Camp Denali. They leave back there, so it's all just a momentary thing, and you just, what you said, you can just not see the mountain. And well, you look at the diorama they have in the visitor center at Eielson. That's about it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
take a picture of that and say wow, and look out and just see clouds.
Right.
It's a part of the Denali experience.
Yes, it is. Be ready whenever.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to a rainbow, and if anything says timeless moment, I would think it's a rainbow, for sure.
Yeah, this is, and it's a digital image. This is surprise, spontaneous, momentary, and comes and goes quickly, and that's just like the last one in a way, but is a passing entity of light on something. And I mean, you just know it when you work with a rainbow in deep clouds and just a few light beams around. Well, that's precious. You have to be at the right place, the right moment, and then you shoot, and it's gone. So this is about as instantaneous as you can get.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And where's this again?
This is This is Autumn Rainbow. It's Denali Park.
Okay.
National Park in Alaska. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. It looks like fall weather and.
Oh yeah, a lot vigorous, very vigorous. You know the feeling, the October feeling, and up there it's September.
Right. Right. Very nice. Okay, we've got a night sky now, plus a little light painting.
Yes, this is Star Trails, Mono Lake, 1995. These are tufa formations, and with a, well, what do we call it? Well, essentially, this one is with is a long exposure. So I took a flashlight type thing. It's what they call pen light, and had time to work it over the formations, the tufa formations in the front, and then let her go all night, the exposure all night. And what happens when you look at this is what I call a condensed moment, because you look at it, and on the left is evening, on the right is dawn.
Oh, wow.
So this one reads from the evening on the left to the right side with the motion of the stars to dawning coming on the very right bottom. And that's not exactly a moment. That's all night exposure. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the picture, the image you're looking at, is instantaneous. This is the timeless moment, but it captures the whole night. I mean, it's pretty heady, and I know it's a little far-fetched, but to me, you have you have an instant moment that represents, because it is the photograph that represented this all-night exposure with both ends of the spectrum going on in the same image. So
yeah, it seems almost like a time capsule, you know.
Yes, it is. It is. But what you're looking at is an instant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another lovely image. Now we're going to move on to Monument Valley.
This is one I dropped in as a little visit to Monument Valley. Stormy summer afternoon, but is a moment at a very special place that we photographed all the way through. Photographers have for many years. And it's just a pleasant thing, and it's an afternoon moment which can be very exciting and important, where there's that warmth before the sun goes down, and that's all this is. It's kind of an injection of a moment, because it is taken with it. Well, it's in fact shorter than a moment. It's just time exposure of maybe a 50th or 60th of a second only. So, but anyway, that's just dropped in here.
Mm-hmm. And when did you photograph this?
Let's see. That I didn't put down the date. It's an F number. That probably is in the 70s or 80s.
Right.
But it's timeless.
Exactly.
You don't see any timing there unless somebody wants to report a finger coming off or a rock coming off one of the mittens, which never happened. Then you could say, well, I do have changes showing in the landscape, and that is with the balanced rocks at Arches National Park out there.
Oh, right.
I do have that little tiny balanced rock in a photograph right in front of me up here. And of course it's gone. You have the big balanced rock and the big pillar on the right, looking south to the LaSalle, but it's gone.
Yeah.
That little. So there are some things that do change, but not in this instance.
Well, that makes that image an even more timeless moment.
Yeah, because who knows what'll go on later.
Yeah. So when was the first time you visited Monument Valley, and what was that like? I mean, you probably didn't see anybody else.
I was. Probably the first times were with my dad. I think both my mom and dad on this instance. We stayed in the museum at Goulding's, and with the Gouldings themselves. And that probably was in the early 50s, probably 1950, 53, somewhere in there. I think one of my earliest photographs is up on Hunts Mesa in 1958. So this starts very early in there. I went around with my dad when they were exploring and finding new things to take people out to as trips, which now are standard cliches.
That's right.
Visit and travel around Monument Valley. The spots are all located and everything's in place. Well, we were looking for things, and of course I'd record my starting out along with my mom and dad with the Gouldings and Morris Knee. Quite a bit of exploring and very exciting times when things were just embryonic, just starting out there.
Yes, exactly.
But he was known as Tall Sheep, Harry Goulding, and worked with the Navajos. Was always taking care of Navajos. Always finding something new. Of course, he got my dad's photographs. He went to Hollywood and got John Ford to come out and do various big pictures in the Monument Valley area that became famous. I won't go through them, but pretty, and it's in the museum there at Goulding.
Sure.
And that's where we stayed. That was there, and usually in winter. We'd go out in the winter. I remember these very succinctly, and my dad would photograph some of the Navajo families with Harry and of course Morris and E. But then it was primarily the Gouldings.
Right.
So that was it, the 50s, very early 50s, somewhere in there. I was with my parents, sensing and feeling the dust and the earth out there in Monument Valley. I was getting a feel for it. Very interesting.
Oh, sure. Well, that
great start.
Sure. Those life experiences were timeless moments in their own. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, the next image we have here is one of my favorite, Haleakala.
Yes, Haleakala with a silver sword. See, yes, this one essentially is the daybreak instant or moment when the sun is just barely showing itself again, but is showing from night to day, and you're in a high place capturing that moment. It's essentially sunrise. What it is dawning of a new day, kind of a genesis, a very creative moment for what you might find later in the day, photographing. And these are my favorite, this kind of a thing, to get up extremely early, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and follow enter the park up there, and then photograph where you can. This may not be possible to do this kind of a image because the silver swords are being protected. They're very endangered. But this was way back there, and I placed the two together and capture that instant of the sunrise. The next one, I'll jump to it because it is the evening on the Bagley ice field in Alaska. And what it does is a hint of the sunset, just catching the last, you shoot through it. The sun is just broken up. I mean, you take it was a little bit earlier, you get a flare somewhat. This is that the precious moment, really.
Yes.
Of when it's going down. The ice is already forming on the Bagley. This isn't ice from the ice field. What it is on top is some of the moisture, evidently a little melting, is freezing already. Just as the sun goes down, so you can feel the transition going on.
Wow, kind of like hoarfrost, and you can see it growing all at once. Yeah.
Yeah, all at once. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And pretty soon it's dark, and you go to morning, and then you have the sunrise the other way.
Yeah.
But these have been great moments for me. And these two together really exemplify it.
Yeah, that's lovely, and again another interesting experience. The next one we have is what I'll call a sunburst on a line of a flowing ridge line, or
what it is a cinder cone at Lassen Volcanic National Park, 1975. It's been a popular image for collection. The shape of a volcano. It's almost planetary. The sun star, again, is just dropping, so you have very short light burst, which is disappearing rapidly.
Yes.
So that's just that instant, and that's it. It's light and shade simplified without detail of the sun star and a volcanic shape. But you don't know that. It's just shadow. So it's a kind of cosmic and planetary, I think.
Right. And fabulous example of just negative space and positive space.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Now we're in my neck of the woods, up in the Columbia River Gorge.
This one I just couldn't resist placing in amongst these because it is a rare moment. There's nothing unusual about it other than Eagle Creek Gorge, of course, up the Columbia in Oregon there. The fog placement just created by whatever change of air is going on right in the falls, and it just created that instant of fog with the balance of temperatures and moisture there. And of course, it's an exciting photograph. The two tie together.
Yes.
They kind of, and it's a little autumn. You can see the coloring over on the left in the leaves, the maple there, a little bit of autumn tint. So it's that off-season variability between warmer times and cooler times, and this is where it mixes it up in that little fog clump there that hovers over Eagle Creek Falls.
Right. Well, I've been up
Gorge
there.
Run.
I've been up there, but I've never seen quite an event like this.
Well, that's just it. It was just an odd time, an instant. I don't know how often it happens, but for me, this was very precious.
It's a wonderful waterfall, and you don't really get very many vantage points to capture it.
Unless you want to catch them dropping 200 feet or 150 feet down to the water, which is no future in it.
No. That's right. That's right. Well, a great example of as you mentioned, a timeless moment for sure. And then Jeffrey Pine from Yosemite.
It's Jeffrey Pine on Sentinel Dome, 1970. That's a Yosemite dome. You're looking toward Half Dome, and a light snow has fallen. It's in the off season also, but what I see is a moment of healthy appearance. This is a tree. This is 1970. This tree, what had gone through, in just viewing it, you don't need any more explanation. It's on a very exposed, mix, growing out of rock. My dad always said plants do not grow straight out of rock. Well, I have been proving that all my life. I've been enjoying finding things when it happens. This was a great example. There wasn't much soil hiding under there for this tree. And it slowly went through the years, has gone, to a point of, not to a point, it's dead now. There's no tree there anymore, so that's the point. But went through all kinds of scarring, and people rode on it. Lightning hit, worked some more on it. The tree went through and went down to just a naked kind of a almost like driftwood standing up against the sky. It was a sad thing to see.
Yeah.
And I didn't photograph it much anymore after that happened. But these are the early ones. I did find 4 or 5 different images, went up there 3, 4 times, not knowing. I thought it was something that was there forever.
Right.
And boy, what a surprise to see this actually actually happen, and now there is nothing.
Right, right. Your photograph captured a timeless moment in time, but yet in many ways the tree's life was a timeless moment within itself.
Yes, within the whole cosmic arrangement here was definitely a very special, like bristlecone. Bristlecone do the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just, and this grew through observation. It's not something I created. I just photographed it as another very inspiring, creative moment with a tree that excited me. But that's all in what is it, 1950? Didn't I say 19? Jeffrey Pye, 1970. I just saw it that way, and then to watch it, what has happened is interesting to see. The timeless moment is the past is pretty obvious looking at the tree. The present is the moment that I photographed it, and what's happened since has been the future from that moment.
Right. And now I guess we could probably think of it somewhat as timeless memories.
The past.
Yeah, exactly. So
all of it's put together in the past.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, the next image here, I'm not sure where it is, but it looks like a waterfall at the coast.
Yes, this is just an exciting moment. It's on the Big Sur coast, a splash of a wave, a winter wave, obviously, and with rain creating waterfalls on a pretty heavy year and a heavy storm before, water running into the ocean, and then the timing of evening light with the splash, and then of course the water running. It's a real wet image just after sunset, so that you're not fooling around with the expression of the sun in it to be creative. This is just the two together by themselves with simple lighting, with simple light, and I just couldn't resist that.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
To me, it just doesn't happen. You try and do it again, and it takes a lot of waiting.
Yes. Yeah.
For these moments like this.
And was this done on 4x5 as well?
Yes. Most all of these last ones are all 4x5 film.
Yeah, so not an easy thing to pull a lot of depth and focus as well as fast shutter speed to, and then of course diminishing light to freeze everything and have it look so powerful.
Yes, because I could have let a little longer exposure go and get the water moving, the cascade moving. The splash could have been a spray of not diffused but soft motion of water, which is pleasant too. But this froze it, so this had to be probably in the realm of a 50th, a hundredth of a second, and still get a depth of field to catch whatever's there, the subjects, to catch them sharp and not fall off. So it was tricky. But light in the evening gives you a little latitude.
Right.
Just a little. But it gives you something.
Yeah. And at the same time, the fast shutter speed is actually capturing the moment more than, a longer shutter speed and blurring and all that sort of thing. So
yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, a wave that's cooperating for a fabulous composition there on the rock.
Oh, these are the moments I've always loved to do. Completely you just be there, F11, and be there, and then be very alert. And I don't need to call it creative, but they're creative moments where you need to put everything together and have a containment or a control of your the simple photographic capabilities, because and now with digital, this could be very easy.
Yes.
But 4x5 film with a ISO maybe 50, maybe
Yeah.
80, 64, somewhere in there. Not 100 yet.
Right.
No,
Right.
not Fuji. Fuji. This was Velvia and maybe Ektachrome. This probably was Ektachrome Daylight.
Yeah. That was a good film too.
Yes, but slow.
Right. Right.
So just some luck in here.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's another, again, great moment and for a powerful photograph. So our next image here is snow-covered rocks from the southwest.
Yes, this is another one I dropped in. It's obvious the moment is the night coming into day. You have the cool of the night, the cold represented sort of with the snow. The sun is just poking up, just peeking over the rim there, and of course you sense the warmth of it, senses a melting and a daytime. So it's another one of night coming into day at a special place with a lot of subject going on there that exemplifies moments in time. It'll change dramatically. That snow will melt or add more in another storm. The day is going to be whatever it is. It's the genesis of a new day, and this is the moment that starts it.
Right.
And brings it out of the night. Yeah.
Is it Canyonlands or Grand Canyon?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is probably Mather Point at Grand Canyon South Rim.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and again, there's not always a lot of snow there at the South Rim, so when you get there, that in itself is another moment that's timeless, let alone the photograph, is being there at the right time.
Also, and it's best to call the Park Service people there and just say, is this next storm going to be a big one, or is it a little warm, just like in Yosemite Valley, or is it a warm one?
Yeah.
And and they'll hint at least, and then get out there the day it's snowing.
Right.
And watch it change and move on eastward the storm, and then, but just to hop there, just be there, just drive there in your own schedule. You got to be awfully lucky.
Okay, our next and final image is Mount Hood up in Oregon.
Yes, this is one of the favorite places, Mount Hood and Lost Lake. This is kind of an ode to Ray Atkinson because I spent much time with him when I was watching various books through at Graphic Arts in Portland there. And we'd talk all about this. And this was, I see it all over on people's walls right to date. I mean, just recently in Portland. Ray's shot was primarily from, I believe, I may be wrong, but a November evening. And this one I have here is when it was quiet, but it is a November sunrise. I mean, it's the dawning, quiet and cold looking, and this is just kind of an ode to Ray's as one of his favorite pictures and one of his favorite places.
Right.
So we shared a lot of that one along with some other places. But that's all that is. And of course it is a timeless moment.
Exactly, yeah. Fabulous place to photograph. Ray had quite a collection. I remember seeing many different approaches to this location over the years.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Oh, he did. Oh, he really did.
Sunrise and sunset are both fabulous times to be there. So, but what I really like about this is all the silhouette and the framing of the mountain, and the early daylight is starting to hit the side of the mountain.
Yeah, it's like a jewel. Hood is quite a jewel in itself. It isn't the great big round volcano. It has a quality of being a jewel-like, and it's just and giving it the alpine framing silhouette, so you don't see a lot of detail of the fir or spruce, whatever they are. It just isolates a cascade image.
Right. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Well, that wraps up our collection of images, and I want to thank you again for sharing them with us. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about what your 2014 plans are as far as maybe books or workshops, and we can add the link to your website here so that people know where to go look and see what you're going to be doing in 2014?
Well, I do have a few workshops planned, but none have, they're not formulated definitely yet, but there will be one I know in the Canadian Rockies, but these are all indefinite. It was just a little too early to place it, but I will have one on the Oregon, in the Oregon Cascades, the Southern Cascades, including Mount Shasta, probably in autumn in Colorado. The San Juans will be another. These are workshop type things, but where I go, who knows? I have some. I'm really looking forward to go returning to some places that have popped up and are and almost want to rediscover some places that I never spent that much time to, and I have these maps to them and look at them and they look so inviting, and then going by them and saying, oh, up there, bristlecone pines. That's another thing, by the way, I'll be wanting to get into is bristlecone pines.
Sure.
Project on that, but don't know yet where it's going, how it'll evolve, but that is definitely in the works for 2014. It's my favorite subject, so I've got to do it.
Yep, you bet.
I have the images, I just have to tell the stories and put them in a format that's suitable.
Great. Well, hopefully sometime down the road we can all take a look at what you collected over the summer and in 2014 and see some new work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe discuss some other directions of, possible. I have in my website, davidmuenchphotography.com, now it's 101 portfolios. So they're all different subjects, personally selected. And this is the new one especially is going to be the Fine Art Portfolio number 5, American Landscape Classic. That is probably my big event. It's finally going to be happening here within a couple of weeks, I believe, but at least by January 1st. And that is fine art printed on the images printed to the best archival and viewing that I can possibly come up with to match the current printing type things.
Well, we're currently showing your web address, and I will remind our readers that if they would like to go look at your ebooks, your print books, and your workshops, they would just head right there, and they can find all the information they need about all of those.
Yeah, 2 books that are still up and ready to go for our Top Rock, which is images on tops of mountains, primarily in the west here, but some in the east. And then also with graphic arts, have a new paperback version of National Parks, David Muench's National Parks.
Right. Beautiful book.
And this is available now, nicely printed. I'm really impressed how it has improved the quality of reproduction, and it does cover the parks, includes Pinnacles National Park, a new one.
Right.
So, and is more of a wilderness direction in the introduction of Ruth's introduction, really exemplifies the wild. I'm concerned about wilderness in the parks.
Yes.
With the way things are going right now. I'm really concerned about it. So this is kind of exemplifying the wilder side of the national parks and still showing the key figures or key landscapes within each park. I mean, you know where you are when you look at Congaree National Park. You know what you're in, or Yosemite. You do still know the big icons.
That's right.
But it's more from the wilder side.
Yes. Okay. Again, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing another fabulous portfolio of wonderful images with us, and look forward to the next time.
Yes, thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
Thanks for going through the timeless moment.
Thank you very much.